hi Libras, and happy birthday. And Safi just decided to walk through. This is my third trying to kind of actually have this introduction for you. So hopefully you're going to have a good one. And hopefully for those who actually already celebrated yesterday and today, that, you know, my best wishes are still kind of there. So happy belated, right? So for the rest of you, this is kind of a good example of my fly on the wall reading. It's kind of like 60 minutes intense, where I kind of have this general, but you also at the end of it, you can attach your own questions, and you can kind of like see that we can actually connect all these dots. So for you, because this is your birthday month, you're getting 10% off. So just jump on it, because that's usually the most wanted option. You just can go on my website, www.cattarot.ca, fill out the form and click on, you know, send me a pay link. So I will see by the day that you're Libra, and I'll send you a discounted link. So let's jump in. So I'm actually seeing really interesting kind of things over here. You're coming from shine. Well, first of all, you are coming from base chakra. That was the very first card that kind of jumped out. It said, something fundamental, something that is connected to fears, to insecurity, to self-esteem is going to like rebubble to the surface. It's something that maybe bothered you, maybe rejection. It's going to make you deal with this, because look at these colors. Look at this, red, dark, a little kind of window on to the end, and then the sunshine. Direction is really, really good. So it's going to be kind of duality, as I can say. Like, you will try to open your arms, and you will try to kind of like shine this light, and it's really great. But there is a part of you that kind of like still feels connection to a part that maybe didn't really work out that great. Maybe you have been injured, maybe you have been hurt, maybe there were issues. But this card is telling me so much, because now getting a meadow. Look at this beautiful inviting card, right? The flowers that basically are arranging themselves. Like, I mean, you just cannot make it up. This is a nature poetic design, and it's kind of lushness that we all enjoy. I literally totally see this combination with the open arms in there. Like, I mean, I can hear sound of music going through this card. I can totally see how basically expansive this can be. But for some people, maybe openness like that can be difficult. Maybe it can be really hard, especially if you're facing some fears. Because the temptation card here tells me that, look, I really don't know where to look. And almost like that somebody's hiding this pathway out for you, from you, and pushing you to look this way. Temptation talks about facing our fears, maybe not facing them. And hence, this is going to be a struggle between, do I open up? Do I not open up? And the solution is, try small. Try to be kind of vulnerable, because this is telling me that you are in a place now where you can take risks with your feelings. And even more important, you can take risks with the truth of who you are. The truth of who you know you are, inside of your heart, inside of your mind, inside of your soul. You actually no longer need to be subject to this kind of like conditioned fears. Maybe you were letting others tell you who you are. Maybe, like, you know, we all are made out of fabric. That's part of that fabric is us, but other people put either holes or put a shine on it. And it's asking you to show the shine this month. And such a beautiful card to come in the month of your birthdays. So keep in mind, vulnerability is in spite of other people judging or evaluating or criticizing and possibly even putting you down. These are all possibilities this month, because you're dealing with all these things bubbling to the surface. It is not about those things. It is about how you react and deal with them, right? Because trusting that you have the strength to deal with these reactions, rather than kind of like responding, you know, adaptively and always playing it safe. You can actually move kind of very confidently and allow yourself to be vulnerable, right? So keep in mind that always holding back from expressing your truth can create this illusion of safety, and this whole card is about illusion. But if you arm yourself with this shine, if you kind of open your heart chakra and share yourself, then you are armed with your trust and your faith. Then you can choose to be vulnerable and share your authentic self with the world. So basically, this guy is telling us that it's not the situation, it is how we deal with the situation. Are you going to open yourself up to the possibility that we are hurt? Or we are going to completely clam up and say, no, 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 I'm not going there, I'll be hurt. Which way is the solution? That's very simple. The solution is what we can handle. Do you think you can handle being hurt? If you don't think you can handle it, you're not ready to be in a relationship. Relationships are basically a gamble. We never know what we are going to get. The level of complexity in another person is much greater than any complexity of any computer or anything else. So you need to know that you can conquer that. That if something happens, you can draw the line. That you're not going to let somebody kind of like install fears in you. That you're actually looking for somebody who will help you uplift yourself. And it looks like you are getting to that point. This temptation also tells me that maybe there was somebody else. Maybe there was a third person hovering, or you were involved with somebody who still kind of couldn't cut ties with their own past. And hence, you felt like in a limbo. Maybe you were too proud to say how you feel, and you were kind of going slowly, hoping things will work out. But it's getting to the point that you need to kind of get some food in that relationship yourself. And these fears need to go away because they were eroding your sense of who you are. And hence, the healing card showed up. And check this out, this huge aura. And I love this card because he is breaking these chains. And this is what the temptation is. Look at this. This is the key. He has this master key. He's telling you what the love is. No, 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 not anymore. You guys are now. You guys are holding the wheel. Because the heel is 17. And 17 is the star card in the other decks. 1 and 7 is 8. And you have 8 there. You have 8 here. And you have 8 here. This, guys, is really, really good because healing means opening yourself to the other people. Healing means getting it. It is not them. Yes, they can do anything they want, but how I respond to it, it's like what is important. And oh my gosh, you're going to start getting it in a hurry because look at that. There is like this bright light, and just like what you have it here, look at this, is emanating from your heart chakra. Look at this. It's healing in your heart chakra. And then ability to look up, kind of make a wish. There is a shooting star happening and igniting passions inside of you. Look at that fire. Always like was something we revered as humans, right? The moment when we conquered fire was this big event. We can control it, right? And it kind of changed our lifestyles dramatically. So in this card, this man is enacting, I think, the ceremonial fire dance from Samoa. And it was actually with purpose to ignite the passion of warriors before battle. So remember that when sometimes fire is just a fire, but when we speak of being on fire or catching fire, these phrases signify that we possess an intense desire or enthusiasm for something. So, what are your passions, Libra? What turns you on, and what is going to ignite that flame in you, that creative spark? What is the fire in your belly, or do you have an absence of it? What is something that makes your heart beat? You have to ask yourself, because oh my gosh, you'll be getting there so quickly, right? So this passion is not something that comes from the outside, even though it can be provoked with some kind of, events or circumstances can be triggered, but it is talking about intensity of the feeling that kind of goes deep inside. And look at this, is connected with your healing coming down. So passion can simply be a strong feeling, or the sensation itself that kind of could be something that is really powerful and making you act on it, right? But this is also often associated exclusively with sexuality, right? And which we kind of see it here. It's kind of like really hard to break up with someone when you kind of link not only emotional but on a sexual level, on kind of like spiritual level. Then you have to cut all these cords. And this is kind of like one of those things that kind of is the easiest to cut, the passion. Because you remedy this by actually igniting passion that already exists within you for something, right? Because this kind of opens up new possibilities. So here, just you need to open yourself to the truth of what you're passionate about and find means to express it. And this is really, really important, because it's kind of like going up, but then it's going to be a kind of little slide down. Because I see here feeling alone. I see here heartaches and loss. And then fog. So some of you will be healing, but just like an elastic band, right? Just the stretches and just contracts. And you kind of like will go to a certain level, you'll start discovering your new passion is going to be, oh no, I still miss somebody, or I still don't feel confident. I still feel isolated. Because look at this, kind of like feeling cut right in the center, not being able to move forward, feeling kind of like as an outsider, because this is matching fog. What is really fog? It's kind of a low cloud, and you have a cloud here, by the way, is the very next card. So here you have these water crystals that actually haven't gained the density of raindrops and haven't actually formulated into clouds, but that can be so thick that it makes it kind of nearly impossible to see in front of us. So making decisions kind of in this particular like fog, we maybe kind of like are not in the best situation to do that. So if you experience this month any kind of feelings of confusion, uncertainty, feeling alone, or if you're kind of backtracking and feeling some residue, or somebody who did something and didn't realize how good you are, well, this is asking you not to make quick decisions. It's asking you that you just wait for this to dissolve, right? Because it eventually will, right? Because also this tells me that could be some ways that you are maybe unconsciously contributing to this state. The greater the truth, basically, it's the faster the cycle that you're moving through it, right? But no matter what it is, this too shall pass, as they say in Zen, right? So allow yourself to feel alone. Allow yourself to experience this heartache. Allow yourself to feel this loss. Allow yourself to feel confused and stuck in the fog. Because this is allowing you for all of these fears, all of these disturbances to come up to the surface. Because then you can just clean them. You can just wait for them to kind of like disperse. So wait for this first glimmer of awareness to lift the veil. So then you see the choices before you can clearly decide and choose in which direction you're going. So this might be a little bit kind of like bump in the road, but you know what? Here you're learning some steps how to deal with this, and quickly you're getting out. You're sailing out. Look at this. Reach out. Like you're realizing that you're supported by many other people. You're realizing that you can actually count on it. You're realizing that maybe goals are really teamwork, that some things cannot be accomplished on your own. No amount of willing, no amount of hoping for it, right? And hence you're kind of like using your passion and kind of applying it to a positive movement forward. So there is your destination. There is like something that really, really kind of like triggers you and that you truly enjoy. So this is kind of like really another 8. It's another kind of like resolution, because you're going from this darkness to this light. Finally, it's getting there. The fog kind of like is cleared. So the clouds are just also the droplets of water, right? But the point over here is like that this is asking for you to exercise shape-shifting. So whatever this is for you, changing your hairdo, changing your clothing, changing your adornments, you know, maybe even mannerisms, right? Trying to see that you find a new walk, finding to see how you're going to wink at somebody, how you're going to smile, maybe practicing it in front of the mirror. You know, this kind of could be external, but also you can talk about adjusting your internal attitude, and you can maybe try to kind of like display different personas and kind of like explore these are kind of different variations of yourself, and the way you're going to present yourself is going to be different to the people who used to feel, oh, I can impose this on you. Now it's going to be surprise, I'm coming to myself. And this is going to be maybe a contrast for certain personality that people are used to, right? So this is also asking you to stand tall. So kind of lift your head up, square your shoulders, you know the drill. Stand tall with, you know, that your chest and heart is open to the world. Look, this is really calling you back, kind of like, remember, it was this positive motion. Do not retract back, right? And feel how it feels. Like that meadow, that sound of music, stretching these arms and breathing it in, enjoying life. Clouds are, guys, so beautiful. Kind of experiment with kind of your aura. Imagine that you're surrounding with this beautiful yellow glow. You're expanding your heart chakra, right? Because this kind of shape-shifting, you can consciously choose your expression in the world. Here, this is just asking you, even though you shapeshift, remember who you are and be true to yourself. And then, guys, these cards just like jumped out as well, and I just like wanted to have this, but then you're having this wind and activation. So guess what? Wind and fire, and we know like you're an air sign, like air and fire is a lovely combination. We can just mold this fire into anything we want, but it can be really, really dangerous, right? So this is calling for you to get off your butt and really activate. It's really, really important. So doing anything from walking outdoors, feeling the breeze, kind of like, you know, wind behind you, push you forward. It has so many kind of allegorical meanings. So you kind of like need to push yourself this month, even if you don't feel like doing it, because this is saying to me, now it's time for action, and engage in some kind of action, engage in activity, be kind of fully present, because you will actually, with this shape-shifting, understand that you can actually move really quickly and be really multidimensional this month. Basically, you know, movement alone, whether this is dancing or hiking, will require you to be really as present as possible in your body. So you need to really start putting this fire both in your motion and in your kind of like intention. And then the whale, which possibly is like such a gorgeous thing. I mean, for us, whale is enormous. And I have posted on my Cat Tarot News, which is my Facebook page, a whale in Brazil that has been rescued. It was like so touching. And it was just a whale, like 4 tons or something. Poor thing, being like on this sandy beach. But like nobody can push this whale back. Look at this enormity of it. but people kind of like just gather together. They're putting in buckets of water, or the poor, you know, fish, or I don't know, that's not really fish, it's a mammal, it's an animal, and poor thing was suffering. But like slowly the crane came in and was digging up the sand and kind of like got around us, and suddenly you can see this like enormous joy of this whale just like jumping in and sailing off and seeing this beautiful fins. So imagine this gorgeous animal, just like this is kind of extraordinary, jumping out and showing this joy. It's kind of literally, even though it's basically the animal that breathes air, it has lungs, it's basically spending most of the time in the water. So it's for you also, Libras, time to take a break. Not just a coffee break, but sort of a respite from the usual environment, right? So a trip, or you're tired of being indoors, because this is asking you to activate. Try to kind of like do something that is not really familiar, that is sort of like really changing, because you're shape-shifting yourself. Try also to shape-shift your experiences, because this is your opportunity to do some intentional breaching out of your thought patterns, and that can actually really open you up to different worlds and different perspectives. And now you're getting this card, the Innocence card, which is 19, just like the very first card that you guys had. So innocence, you know what is striking in this card? That it shows an old man, because most of the cards shows children, because we are trained to think a certain way. So let this be your first exercise into breaching out and thinking differently. So let's talk about this innocence, because that seals really nicely. It was the start and the end of your reading with the same concept, kind of connecting, feeling it. So this old man kind of really radiates like a childlike delight, and you know, there is a certain sense of grace and peace around him, almost like that he's like really at home with himself and everything that life actually has for him. You don't think that he is obsessing about age, or about passion, or about fashions, or about motion. He simply just enjoys his playful communication with the praying mantis that he has on a finger. You know, it almost looks like two of them are sort of some kind of friends. So the innocence comes from a deep experience. It's kind of coming from how we explore life, and that innocence is childlike. It kind of like is that moment that we are breathless, that we kind of see something that takes our breath away, even if this is just a simple meadow. You know, the innocence of children is truly beautiful, but it is ignorant. You know, it eventually will be replaced by mistrust and doubt, and kind of like it's possible to fall into kind of these patterns of fear and temptation. But you know, this child eventually also learns that the world can be dangerous and threatening place. However, this card talks about the innocence of a life lived fully, that has a quality of wisdom and acceptance of ever-changing wonder of life. So this is not talking about being childlike, right? No, this is talking about being childlike, not childish, right? And that's why I absolutely love in this deck, they're actually representing this with this Zen master who is kind of like understanding everything actually starts from me, how I feel. I need to kind of shine this light. You guys have amazing spread. So let's see what happens next in your tarot, in your Lenormand, in your wish layers. Okay, Libra, let's see your tarot portion. The bottom of the deck. Yay! Soulmate! beautiful. Look at this. What I love about this is like pushing this path forward. Did you ever see the cat? Did you ever have a cat? For those of you who do have cats, this is kind of like goes without saying, kind of like, right? They kind of push this little path toward you, then they touch you. This to them is an expression of love, right? And not to mention sharing their milk bowl. So, and it might be something really non-conventional. It might be something that it's not like you're waiting, you know, kind of like that sort of a thing. So expect the unexpected. King of Chalice is reversed. I don't like this guy. This is the guy who promises you everything, who literally paints this like beautiful castle and the children and everything, and then he doesn't call. He just disappears. Be very careful. Be very careful if you actually around somebody who just seems to be too good to be true. Try to kind of like poke him a little bit to see if that air comes out. You actually want to know the person's bad sides in order to kind of go in a relationship. That's more important. Good sides, it's kind of easy. Kind of, we always can adjust really quickly to the good things, right? Crossing it with the third person. That's what we saw over there. That's kind of like that tinge of issues. Okay, let's see. The Star, that was the healing card, but now it's reversed. So you're turning this around, obviously. You have ability to turn this around. See, being stuck into some things that you really liked, and you just don't want this to change. You want to keep it the way it was. Queen of Pentacles. Look at this, two of guys are both reversed. This is my girlfriend or wife card, or but this can actually be you spending lots of money during your birthday, during all this testing your different hairdos. So let's see how this goes. Look at this. Coming into stability, understanding yourself, controlling the things around you, becoming a better person. That's for sure. Like, I mean, going 4 layers up. Now, in relationship, this means that you always have to watch few things. If you're generally a leader in a relationship, then you have to see if you're leading and how you're leading. If you're leading with fear or with love, right? And how you're going about that. If you're the follower, then you have to figure out if your needs are met. And that's sort of like going to be preoccupation this month. Knave of Pentacles. So now this is in the feelings, and I don't like this. This is telling me that, you know what I don't like in people? I don't like when they're victims. Yeah, I really subscribe to the buck stops here. Of course, we all want to be hugged and from time to time say that everything is okay. Once in a blue moon, that's okay. But like, there are some people who are perpetual victims. Don't fall into this hole, because you guys have such an amazing trajectory this month, okay? Your environment, okay, you are getting it. Let's cut things out. The things that don't work, get out of it. So you will be getting out of this funk for sure. Hopes and fears. Hope that you're going to reach some kind of clarity. Fear that things are still going to stay the way they are, that there is some kind of shadow, that you're in some kind of like moodiness, that you're like with some kind of people who maybe are not as responsive, or they're not there as they should be there, and maybe that you think that you're living an illusion. To some extent you are, especially if this person has somebody on the side, and if you know of it, man up, even if you're a woman, okay? There you go. It's a new direction, guys, and that's what you had over there. That was like this kind of new opportunities going forward. So the horoscope signs I see: Pisces, Capricorn, Aries, Aquarius. I do see lots of earth over here, meaning like maybe you're grounding yourself, maybe you're reconfiguring yourself, because the air sign coming down to earth means, okay, now I have to deal with humans. I'm from out there, I'm from space, I'm dealing with rockets. My thoughts are going so fast. And you're getting at some point, okay, maybe I got bogged down with certain kind of like issues. And that's when you're turning things around. So you're turning things around, we are not more dwelling on the past. Because it looks like there are some issues from the past that are still kind of permeating in the present. And it's not really helping. That's for sure. Okay, so what do we do? Do we do the Lenormand first or do we do the question? Let's do the Lenormand. Okay, I'm going to click in when the Lenormand gets placed on the table. All right, guys, Lenormand. In Lenormand, we have a few significators. We have the gentleman, and then we have the lady. There's some other cards that actually can talk about people, and generally all of them are activities that either we have or somebody else has. So let me give you a few storylines over here. Okay, some of you will be at the crossroads, right? It could be something completely new, in a new direction, new contract. And here is that fire, here is that passion that we were talking about. But there are the issues. Some issues need to be resolved. This could be the internal issues. Be very careful not to betray yourself here. It's kind of really important. You're also wondering where you guys want to live. I'm seeing some of you are like really rolling up your sleeves, chasing your own new future. And by the time the Christmas is here, oh my gosh, it's going to be in full motion. You're setting the stage, you're putting things, kind of like you're rolling things. But by Christmas, the heart is there, and there is this person who is some kind of professional, nested in a situation with lots of people, lots of celebration, like cups are pouring over, and you're putting your anchor down. You're not allowing small nagging things to kind of get into, but be very careful. The mice in the house, not a great thing. So certain things will need to go. So nothing is like, ideal, nothing is perfect. So I also see that some of you are literally need to snap out from some kind of situation. Maybe you just made the decision to move in a different direction. Some of you may actually, some of you are setting up a new career. And this new career may be still in the stage of negotiation. Maybe you're applying for jobs. But some of you already kind of like on that path. For some of you, that career could be connected to marketing or to real estate or to renovations. Be very careful how you go about this, especially when it comes to contracts. Because these contracts the details can be really tricky. So be very careful that you do not kind of like undermine yourself at this. But I certainly see that there are certain things that have been happening, pardon me, for a while, that you maybe have been having this feeling for or passion for from the past are coming up. Some of you are really thinking about shacking up and continue on the new level, new direction, having basically this child over here and heart in the child. So like now you're having two things at the same thing. Things are kind of moving on for you over there. So it is kind of like time for you guys to kind of like look and explore these kind of like new directions. For the others, it's going to be resurfacing on some old things. It's going to get healthier in communication. The birds is generally like really, you can expect lots and lots of communication. And again, there is like something about the job, or you might feel, or somebody else in your environment might be like too much of a smart aleck. But maybe for some of you, your job will turn into a business, into a new commitment. Could be a new contract that you sign up. But this can literally mean that you're meeting your karmic soulmate. The ship is a card of moving forward. Now when I see these two cards sort of like this in a close proximity, it definitely tells me that there will be lots of activities for this storyline as well. But it first is going to kind of like bring to the surface a whole bunch of things. The cross means religion, but see, this is in the house of cross. The birds are over there. And this means whatever this is, it's going to be really, really important, because then you have the stars and you have the sun and you have the key over here. The sun will shine, the stars, wish upon a star kind of a thing. It's the key to some kind of new fortune, new future. It is unlocking something new. New gates are unlocking for you. You will at some extent feel that you're lucky, but really this really look, luck here and luck here. You guys really are on a good trajectory, so don't be afraid. This also means maybe going down and facing your fears, but we have seen this from the introduction, so nothing wrong about that. Just do it and move it, because oh my gosh, you have this like buzzing of activity for everything. Yes, here, like one person is maybe going to go a little bit deeper in their own deep instincts. What is that I want? The other person is going to go, okay, so what is the best for me? Ultimately, it is going toward this kind of happiness and understanding what the happiness is. Because the moon card is here, a moon card talks about healing something and kind of like putting things in the right order, kind of like trusting yourself. That's kind of like that beaming card, opening your arms, enjoying yourself. This is a really good configuration, guys, even though I can see that there are issues, that still certain issues have to be surmounted. I also see kind of like the sun is going to shine on it, and the fog, the clarity is kind of coming there, like little kind of nagging issues. It looks like it was lots of small issues kind of like that created a bigger issue, but this is kind of resolved with communication. So communicate, communicate, communicate. Okay, so ask yourself a question. What question do you want to know? And this is for everybody, including the cross watchers. So I actually already shuffled cards while I was putting this Lenormand on the table, and I have these three groups of cards over here. So do you want a door number 1, or door number 3, door number 2, or door number 1? For this here, you have an earth kitten. So it's going to be exploration. It's going to be feeling studious. You will go into unknown. You will kind of like check the things that you maybe feel were not kind of the things that you kind of like ran into that before. That's kind of like the shape shifting. It's not only that you're shifting, but the other things will be shifting. This is talking about progress forward. Yes, it does. It's not going to be super fast, but it's going to be kind of interesting, and it's going to be a beautiful exploration. Let's see over here. 2 of Swords. Kind of like some of you are facing a dilemma, or some question that you are like actually asking is about some kind of dilemma or some kind of choice. It is choice. Ace of Swords and 4 of Cups reversed. Maybe it's a choice between, do you feel that you're maybe lying yourself? Do you feel that you're kind of depressed and lost? And look at this poor kitty and this big tear in the eye. And you're like sick and fed up and tired of this. And this is like probably the choice being made. I'm tired of this. The path I'm on is creating me all these issues. The path I'm on is making me cry. Why in the world would I want to cry? I need to cut it off. And I can tell you with this kind of vocabulary, because you're an air sign, frankly, when I say this to the other sign, like they'll go, oh, kind of like you can hear the gasp on the other side. You guys can do it. You guys can do it. And this is very much like your Libra kind of thing, right? Always kind of waving this kind of 2 sides. And the door number 3. Being left out in the cold. Unfortunately, if you want to move forward, it's going to be weird. Something about this question means that it's not necessarily the straight path, because these people are not going into this church that is supposed to be shelters. It's not going to be a smooth thing. This, however, the card talks about being kind of like the outsider, being pushed out, and maybe wanting that somebody takes you under their wing, that things get resolved. You feel wounded. But the truth here is that there's going to be some kind of test. Is this person really there for you? Or is this person kind of like playing some kind of games? Be very careful here not to be literally being left out in the cold. But it also can be a situation, it's 2 of us against the world. So it might be financial thing, it might be existential thing, it might be how do we build this together, but it will take some effort and maybe some configuration. So lastly, I have your enchanted map card that is supposed to seal the reading. And it's called Strength. Lovely card to get. It's also 44. It's a master number. So it says, your true strength comes from self-reliance alone. Comes not from self-reliance alone, but from a sincere faith into higher power. Remember how I said 8 is a number of a master building? You're building a second deck. Well, 4 and 4. Again, we are on that deck. So it says this. The strength to accomplish even the most daunting task is yours at this time. You can connect with and channel the power of the universe. The Strength card indicates that your ideas are being tested and refined, and your relationships are being deepened. No matter what happens, nothing can move you off the course of evolution. As the potency of your connections becomes more obvious, you are able to harness the creative energies that are available to you. Have courage and dive in, for magic is in the process of finding a form to take. When you remember that real strength comes from a combination of your efforts and reliance on a higher power working through you, all is possible. You can do anything now. So Libra, enjoy your birthday. I really hope it's a good one. And remember, you get Fly on the Wall, which is kind of like a really great overview of everything that is about you, what can kind of work, what cannot work, on what kind of trajectory you are. You get 10% discount this month. But there are many other reading options that are out there and available, so check it on my website. And this is a general reading, guys. This is really to give you some kind of like master guidance, but to get your personal information, to see where you're heading, please contact me at www.cattarot.ca for your private reading. And until the next time, I love you, Libras. Have a great happy birthday.